Good afternoon. Thank you all for coming. I want to tell you all a little bit about who I am and how I got here. My name is Gail Spradlin. I am the director of the Hand in Hand Ministries office in Auxier in Appalachia. I'm also a mother of 2 young boys. I came from a large family. I'm number 8 of 9 children. I'm also the first to attend college. When I was growing up, we lived in a 3-bedroom house, and one of those rooms was my parents' bedroom, of course. My father was our sole provider. He was also an abusive alcoholic. My mother was she was a very religious homemaker, and I was a teenager that just absolutely could not wait to get out of that situation. So at 16, I thought I'd found my answer. I was going to get married, and life was going to be fine. But as you can imagine, that was short-lived. I found myself in a more trying situation than the one I was already in. After about a week of being married, I found myself in a more abusive situation than what I could have ever imagined. I had jumped from the frying pan and into the fire. Daily, I was mentally and physically abused, beaten to the point that I ended up in the hospital with a neck brace, blood coming from my ears, and not knowing what I was going to do. My questions at that time was, what would I do? Where would I go? Questioning God along the way. What had I done to deserve this? So at 25, I'm sorry, I'm getting emotional. At 25, I had my first son. This was one of the greatest blessings in the world to me. I was so excited, and I was certain this was going to fix my marriage. Guess what it did? This just meant that I had one other person to try to protect from his abuse. So at 3 years old, my son started showing aggression. And this is when a small, still voice spoke to me and said, "You have a choice. He doesn't." I knew that it was time to leave. But where would I go? Back home to the abuse? And leaving didn't come easy. This meant finding a place to hide until I had all the EPOs and all the paperwork in order. This meant leaving my job and not having any money, no communication with my family for fear of what he would do to them. Trying to stay safe and explain to a 3-year-old what was going on in his world. This was very scary and dangerous. This was a very scary and dangerous time for me. So after several court dates and lots of meetings with attorneys, he had to move out of the house so Dustin and I could move back in. I lived in constant fear of him breaking in through the night, which he did frequently. The last time I woke up to him with a knife to my throat, saying, "You better say your last prayer. This will be the last time you will see your son." I wondered, would this ever end? And it did. It did. It took lots of determination, lots of support. And during this time, I was working at a fast food restaurant, making about $6,000 a year. Thank you. I went to college full time and was a single parent of a child. I seldom received any child support. In 2005, there was an opening at the Auxier Center, which was the hand-in-hand office where I lived, for a receptionist. I got this, and my life had changed forever. While there, the center worked on my trailer, encouraged me to attend community meetings, go to various trainings, and teach classes myself. For 5 years, I attended weekly therapy sessions, learning to cope with PTSD and the abuse. I had no clue what I had gone through was in preparation for what I would be doing as a career. So in 2009, the directors of the Auxier Center retired, and this left me as the acting director at that time. This is the year that I realized God had put me in a position to help people that were in the similar situation that I was in. And as you can imagine, we have several of those come through the center, just like me. So this past year, I was in the office, and we had a young lady, a single mother of 4, all under the age of 5, come into my office looking to get some help with home repairs. Betty came in, and she had 2 twins that were around 1 year old. When I walked over and asked her if I could help her, all that I could think about was how strong the smell of kerosene was on her and those children. I knew that we had to go out and see what her living situation was like. I just couldn't imagine. When I got to Betty's house, I could not believe what I was seeing. I thought that my past living conditions were bad, but mine didn't even compare. This lady was living in a house with no running water, no bathroom, no cook stove, and she was using a kerosene heater to heat her house. And if you looked around, there was brown recluse spiders everywhere. As we continued on looking at Betty's house and the repairs that she needed, we noticed where the bathroom once was completely falling off the house. There was live electrical wires coming from the ceiling, and there was water dripping from the electrical wires. I knew then we had to do something, but I knew it was going to take some time. The OSB board that was on the floor had no floor covering on it, and it was black from the mold. And I couldn't imagine one of my children being in that house. Not even imagine them crawling around on that floor. It was so hard for me. This was one of the worst situations I had been in, especially involving children. Betty told us that one of her twins had been sick the day before. They thought it had pneumonia, and it was now on a nebulizer machine. Betty had said to us several times after we got there that she had told her 5-year-old that had started school that year not to tell anyone that they didn't have a bathroom, because Betty was so afraid that social services would come and take her children from her. But after months of hard work and lots of hand-in-hand volunteers, Betty's house is now home. She has a new bedroom, a new kitchen, and the kids have their own bedrooms, and it's not leaking on them. They are sleeping in beds instead of mattresses on the floor. And although Betty's struggle continues, and probably will for years to come, she no longer has to worry about a leaky roof or losing her children because she doesn't have a bathroom. And for me, my life is completely different. I'm in a wonderful relationship. I have 2 happy, healthy children. I have a great job. And next week, I will close on my first new home. And through Hand in Hand, I am so blessed to help Betty and many others by giving them hope and a hand up. Please don't ever think that by patching a leaky roof or fixing a broken window doesn't make a difference in someone's life. Because in a child's life, if they're getting rained on while they sleep, they can't focus on school or any other thing that a child should focus on. And don't think that as one person you can't make a difference, because all things start with just one person. Because of Hand in Hand and people like you, lots of lives have been changed. including mine. Because of Hand in Hand and people like you, my children are in completely different situations than they would have been years ago. And as I close today, I want to leave you with this thought. If you want to touch the past, touch a rock. If you want to touch the present, touch a flower. If you want to touch the future, touch a life. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you to Hand in Hand for changing lives, and may God bless each of you.